1, 2.
Damn
One,
it. Hello,
1, 2, 3.
And that's Paul Preston.
All right, we're
And I'm
actually
Adam
here
Witt.
now.
Hello, welcome to the Ford Fiesta special all nonsense version. We're not going to talk much Harrison Ford today, although I am curious what the favorite Harrison Ford movies are of the filmmakers we have on the show, Paul. We might have to get into that.
Yeah, and there's always photos like this that you suddenly find on the internet you've never seen before, and you're like, whoa, check him out doing his thing, the thing he's good at, the thing he's translated into most of his movies.
That's the cup of a carpenter.
That's right.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
yeah, we do have a film that is relevant to the world right now, as opposed to old Harrison Ford movies we're talking about.
Right, exactly. A little more relevant than Force 10 from Navarone. We have a movie that is in movie theaters right now. We can prove it. We went to see it in a theater, and Paul, it's made by friends.
It is, and it's called 8 Found Dead.
Oh God, what a great poster! I gotta say, I with the trailer does not have this scene. We'll get them out here in a second here, but I love that this is the poster. That is such a great moment in the movie.
I think I gave it the cheeriest intro perhaps the movie has ever been given. 8 Found Dead.
8 Found Dead. That's right. A lot of movies will stop with 6 Found Dead or 5 Found Dead, but not this movie, folks. This movie, 8 people are promised to die in this great reinvention of the slasher genre, which we are lucky enough to know the people that made. We were lucky enough to go see it. And, you know, you and I, we love movies. We love making movies. And what is the greatest thing a human being can do, Paul? Make a movie, right?
Make a movie.
Make a movie.
America's greatest export, the finest art form there is. And we have a friend who did it, which is all the more exciting. I'd like to bring him to the stage. Did you notice now StreamYard has a thing that says add to stage, not to stream or to feed, add to stage. So we're going to add our friend to the stage, Jonathan Buchanan.
Welcome to the stage. Entering stage bottom, Mr. Jonathan Buchanan. Hello, sir.
Hello, fellas. How are you doing?
Wow, better now.
Good.
Yeah, there's something to success in just having a movie that's done, right?
Oh, it's amazing.
And then when people seeing it, its response, what you hear about how good it is, all that is great. But you win already by it being done.
I do feel like a winner. And yes, the pushing the rock the whole way up to the top of the hill and actually being done. Anybody at this point, as a filmmaker and as someone who works in film and television, every movie deserves a look because somebody put their fucking heart into it.
Absolutely.
A whole team of people did. People put money into it and time and effort. And, so yeah, we feel great.
Hey, Jonathan, you have crystallized my thing. I am often criticized because I like every movie. I often say there are only 5 movies I don't like and one whose name I won't even mention. But that's it. I mean, the thing is, movies are so hard to make. And I understand the average audience member doesn't really go in thinking that, but I do, we do. And what we do is talk about movies and just like, this is why I love every movie, is because they are so hard to make and they are such a work of passion and so hard and for so long to make the movie. Should we bring in the director here as well? I see he has popped up on the stage, just off stage.
Woohoo!
And we'll get into the story of how you guys, came together to make this movie. I know you for many, many years, Jonathan. You've had a lot of different hats you've worn, always been a filmmaking hat, here and there, but then added music and things like that. And so I want to find out how you met Travis, because this is definitely a new phase of your life with a great new collaborator here. So should we bring him to the stage, Paul?
Let's bring him to the stage, Adam.
Please welcome to the stage, Travis Greene.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, thank God.
Did you have to like go use the Wi-Fi in the car?
Are you at a Starbucks parking lot?
I am at the Starbucks parking lot because I was having trouble logging in at the 7-Eleven parking lot. I'm at the Burbank Airport because I just arrived from a wonderful premiere in Columbus, Ohio. I literally got off the plane right now.
Okay, wait a minute. We saw
Columbus,
this film.
Ohio. I'm from Ohio. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw this Friday in Glendale, California. And then I know you guys went to Albuquerque. You've also found time to go to Columbus in this short 4 days.
Awesome.
Past 3 days, I've woken up at 5 a.m. and have been at an airport. And John, you have too, right?
Yeah. This morning I got to sleep in, thank God, because it was a rough. We were getting 2-3 hours of sleep each night, getting on a plane each morning. I was glad. I wanted to go to Columbus, but I'm also really glad I got to sleep instead.
Does it remind you of your campfire cassette tours?
A little bit, yeah. Less driving, but definitely the wake ups and the late night drinking and the camaraderie. It's great.
Well, and let's introduce our audience here. We have some people that don't know Jonathan or Travis as well as we do. Campfire Cassettes, that is Jonathan's band. And for most of the time I've been in LA, you have played in a lot of different little venues. And most of the time I've seen you, Jonathan, you know, if you weren't showing off something you made video-wise or whatever, is usually watching your band, the Campfire Cassettes, which I think at one point was maybe just you. Didn't you do some solo stuff at first under that name? And then you started adding people. But the last time was like 5 or 6 people, and it had a whole new vibe. That right before the pandemic, I think I saw you.
Gosh. Yeah, it started as just me, and then we added Angie and Todd and Bobby, and now we have a full band.
Yeah, and it started taking on a really fun and funny, sly feel to some of the sounds too. The last set I saw, the Campfire Cassettes with the whole band, was very funny songs. It was all pretty funny stuff, actually. Yeah. And so we have a little bit of a video here if people want to see the other Jonathan Buchanan, the non-bearded Jonathan Buchanan, which is a fairly new Jonathan Buchanan. And
that's my wife's favorite Jonathan Buchanan.
Is a non-bearded?
Oh, when he had that nice little slick back rockabilly look.
Well, here we go. Here's a little video, and this is shot so well. Travis, you did such a killer job with this video. This is Daddy's Gun. And here's a clip, and check out a non-bearded Jonathan Buchanan, directed by Travis Greene. A really wonderful video.
I'm turning from the sun. I'm a daddy young man on a mission with my daddy's gun. In my heart of hearts.
So there was a little. I'm sorry that clip got cut short, but I was anyway. But anyway, that was the young Jonathan Buchanan, and
sorry, we don't want the owners of the music coming after us. For
the
usage rights.
Bobby Wu, he may have something to say. But yeah, Travis and I, we've been collaborating together for 16 years. He recorded my other band. He recorded our first album, our third album. You're probably part of our second. He's worked with us on music videos. I've worked with him on short films. We have put in the hours together, grinding it out.
Yeah, getting to know each other stuck in, a recording studio when you're the only two just laboring over, mixing. Mixing takes forever. It's like making a film, right, John?
It takes a long time.
But you hang out and you get to know each other. You bond over stuff. I feel like I know him intimately. Adam, he did start off Campfire Cassettes on his own, I think kind of just as like a goof, right? As a side project, like during the Holy Angel Fire, you're like, can we record?
Yeah, it was during. I just bought a guitar and wanted to try it out. You recorded the first EP at your parents' house.
In that living room.
Yeah, that turned out great.
And then we edited this horror film in my parents' kitchen.
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time at the Green's house. For sure.
Are you saying, and that's the intro to 8 Found Dead there, right? Or are you talking about a different short or something?
No.
This whole feature.
Albums. we did albums and we did this feature film that's now playing in theaters. We edited it. Well, we put the finishing touches on it in my parents' kitchen.
Yeah.
Well, we've teased the film. Let's show some of the trailer here because we have both of you here now, and now I think we've got a few more viewers here. So if you're just joining us, we're talking 8 Found Dead. It's a brand new horror film. This is playing in Glendale right now and Columbus, Ohio.
And is there a limit to where it's streaming, or is it streaming everywhere?
Oh, in VOD.
It's everywhere. In USA and Canada, it is everywhere. Apple, Google, Amazon, etc.
Vudu?
Yeah, Vudu.
You're on Vudu?
Yeah.
If you're on Vudu, you've made it.
Right?
But what's really cool about this is the first time I heard about 8 Found Dead was that you were at the Scream Fest, and our good friend Chad Wilson, who introduced me to Jonathan Buchanan, was in town. The great Chad Wilson. Hey, I don't think you can say the name Chad Wilson without the great before it. Absolutely. Travis, you're correct. And this is, we've had friends. Again, it's always an accomplishment when your friend makes a movie. I 100% am always there at the festivals. What you never expect is them to walk in the winner of the festival, which was amazing. So let's take a little look at this trailer here, and then we'll talk about that evening at the
fateful night
at the TCL Chinese Theaters. Goodness gracious, where they showed the site of the famous Star Wars line was where your movie got shown. And but here we go. Here's 8 Found Dead, everyone. Hopefully we can show all of this trailer. Or are we going to get
go for it?
All right, let's
30
go.
seconds, whatever.
We're advertising.
Why are we spending the weekend with people we don't like?
We're going to the desert to stay in a beautiful house. And if you play your cards right, I get laid.
It's me and my man. Say hey, babe.
Hey, babe.
I need you to be present this weekend, okay?
So isolated.
You guys, we made it.
You know it.
I'm watching Sam's story.
There's no key.
Did you try the door? Good thing it's unlocked.
It's weird.
Who drives the Jeep?
Sam probably brought a camera crew.
Can I help you? I'm sorry. Who are you?
What's going on, dear?
We were staying here with our friends this weekend. I can't get a hold of her. There's barely any service.
So what are we gonna do about these two?
We could kill him. Follow my lead.
A toast. Our memories are flawed to protect us and to make our lives seem meaningful.
To new friends.
We're getting out of here. Our friends are on their way.
You keep saying that, but I don't even think you believe it.
What did you do to our friends?
These people are really freaking me out.
This is your weekend. Nothing's gonna happen to you.
Are you in danger?
No, sweetie. Just you.
I did that. Sorry.
Oh no, yeah. You were stopping it as I was stopping it.
Here's
You know
some
what that is?
suggestions. Here's some
That's a movie.
suggestions for the sequel. They need to read from the Book of the Dead. All right, there you go. That's all it's missing there. From
Hey, you don't know what's on that record that they put on there,
That's
pal.
true.
You got to go see to find out.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's get to my favorite thing when I interview people who've made a movie.
What's your favorite Harrison
at
Ford
this
movie? No, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Stories from the trenches.
Yeah.
So you guys obviously have a long history and decided. Okay,
Travis is in the trenches right now. Look at him.
I know.
I'm living out of my car, guys. Sold my house to make this film, and I'm homeless now.
There you go. So the people, the team, how does the team come together? The people who are influential and make it happen. You know, who were you? Do you need to shout out to that they were super? I mean, everyone's super heroic at this level of indie film, but DP, editor, like who were your MVPs?
John, you want to start it and I'll fill in the holes?
Sure. Well, I mean, Travis he's been making shorts and music videos, etc., for a decade or more. And he wanted to do a feature, and I think he was going to do it no matter what. So I jumped on board. I wanted to help out. And, then as we started putting together the team, I was going to write it. He was going to direct it. And we knew right off the bat, we wanted Ryan Valdez as the DP. Travis has been friends with him a long time. I've known him for a few years, and we just both love the guy, and we love his work and his attitude, and we just knew we had to get him.
And what's the attitude? Because there's a very free feel to the making of this movie. Chad himself compared it to jazz. It's the jazz of a slasher film, which and that goes through, because when you're there with a DP, there are a lot of different types of DPs. There's the ones that say, no, I need this key light here and nobody move because this light's going here, da, da, da. But then there's also this sort of much more improvised and free, which is what this feels like, which is like, oh, what if I climbed under the table? Like there's, so.
Well, Ryan shoots everything without shoes. And the reason why he does that is because he's a monkey man, so that he can grab lights with his feet while he's also holding the camera.
Amazing.
And just, he's like Dick Van Dyke and Mary Poppins, just the one-man band. And he's used to doing high-end, premium-looking content, music videos, short films, features. He's no stranger to feature films as a DP. On a low micro-budget indie, budget, but making them look really like $1 million. And it's just based on his just inherent talent that's just God-given. And he's just I call him Michael Jordan behind the camera, because he just pulls off these immaculate images it looks effortless when he does it. And to speak to what Jonathan was talking about, his attitude is, we had this thing on set called the homie hour, whereas we would shoot our 10 hours and then, wrap. And then Ryan would be like, you guys want to still keep going? I'm down to keep shooting, and we would go spill into the late night. And that really helped us kind of get over the hump and chew through a lot of pages, because we shot, I think it was 63 pages in 9 days. And that was taxing. So we were doing like 10 to 12 pages a day at times.
Wow.
Well, you picked two things that win for you right out of the gate. Single-ish location, right? The majority of your film. Yeah. And the genre, horror, it's going to play. That just finds audiences, like there's always an audience for horror, and then you've kept it affordable to make. And so I just think those two big choices are.
Well, it's also.
I'm trying to make a comedy, and I'm like, where's that going to play?
Well, it's also a wonderful smorgasbord for a horror fan, is a combo of Cabin in the Woods and slasher and kind of like The Strangers, because the people that are there, we don't know what's going on. And then the great surprise of this that isn't indicated in the trailer, but I think anybody that sees it, certainly if they're a horror fan, is going to have so much fun with it, is it becomes nonlinear. It sort of breaks loose of its format and plays by its own rules. And then amazingly, anybody that thinks they're a savvy slasher fan or horror fan, you're like, oh, you think you know what's going to happen, and it immediately puts you in the place of the people at the cabin, because now I don't know, because now we go to, the couples don't arrive at the cabin at the same time, but we don't realize that, or that one has arrived before or after the other until, about 10, 15 minutes into the movie, where it starts to literally play games with the audience the way the people in the cabin are playing games with the people who have arrived. That's really fun, putting us in the place of the people who are coming to the cabin. It's unique,
Oh, thanks. Yeah, we always like nonlinear stuff. I mean, you've got Pulp Fiction, Memento. The Prestige is one of my favorite movies. So we just kind of, cut it up into these 4 timelines. When we cut, each timeline progresses forward, but we kind of shuffle them around. So it makes it fun.
Well, and then the big surprise is then you're with the cops who are just as everybody gets a great opening intro scene, by the way, with lots of fun improv, or not improv, but like an improvisational form where it's you're getting a relationship out of the people. And even it comes to the cops, they're getting a divorce. The way they reveal that is very funny and unique. And then they go out to the cabin, and I don't think we realize, I mean, I've only seen it once. I don't think we realize till they get there that, oh, they're there after everything's happened that we haven't seen yet. You're like, they're going to the crime scene. I don't know if I'm blowing a thing. It happens fairly early. But
no, you get that from their first introduction pretty much. So
yeah, but that's just so cool. Like, what a great way to play with. I mean, I really feel like you two, as the filmmakers, are the couple at the cabin who are now playing with the audience.
We tried, yeah.
But that's a very unique. I mean, it's just no movie that feels like it, which is awesome. I love it.
It's funny. It's funny that you mentioned that, Adam, because like improv, there's a game in improv called Quadrant. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Quadrant. But it's you have 4 people and they rotate in a square, and the director of Quadrant can choose forward, back, left, right, forward, back.
And each
left,
square
right.
has an emotion in a weird way. Is that
no? It's either like it's 2 relationships. Each person has a different relationship with everyone that's playing within the quadrant.
With each quadrant, yeah.
Exactly. You can shuffle it and pick your points in and out what you want to convey. And that's what Jonathan did from the get-go with this script. It was really fun to read. How I was just page turner, just like I could see, we refined the transitions as we went along, as we rehearsed it, as we prepped it, as we shot it, as we even edited it. But
yeah, I was going to say some of that had to be discovered, couldn't have been discovered in the first draft. Some of that had to be discovered as you go. You go, oh, this edits right to this.
I'd say about 90% of it was there.
Was it really?
What do you think, John?
A lot of it, yeah. But during showing Travis the script, and we had a lot of conversations and sort of talked about what would be cool, like using doorways and entrances and exits and things. So that helped refine the writing. And then when we did the rehearsal, that helped, the rehearsals that we got to do, we got to, refine the dialogue and things. And then he found stuff in editing, not in editing, during production, directing. And then we had 3 editors, and they discovered more things throughout the edit. Neil Evans really did a great job stringing it out. Rick Blakely, Travis's father, did another pass and found some really cool moments and things that we didn't realize were hiding in the corners. And then Travis gave his super finesse at the end, and it worked out great.
That's cool. Your dad's an editor, Travis?
Yeah, he was a writer-producer for Fox for their on-air promo department for about 30 years. It's what brought us out to California.
Oh, nice.
And then he kind of Fox merged with Disney. He was, posed with the question, do you want to go from being, a staff member at Fox to now a freelancer, or we could, give you a severance package? And he took the severance package and then kind of sidestepped his way into my line of work, which is docu unscripted. And, because he was a writer producer, but he had learned the Avid. So he was stringing out stuff on an editing software. And so I just kind of started hiring him in television. He never got me a job in scripted, but I've hired him plenty.
Well, now you've proven
one-way street, Dad. What's up?
It's reverse nepotism.
Yeah.
Although, want to shout out, he did land us the trailer company who cut that trailer that you played, which is Catalytic Creative. Shout out to Brian Dollemeyer and Heather Porter over there. Those were 2 of his cohorts over at Fox, so that was really neat.
Yeah, killer trailer. Obviously,
everybody has that fear. You arrive at a Airbnb and there's people there already, and you got to deal with them. And of course, this takes it to the extreme. But speaking of great trailer, that's what our friend Sean says. I want to address his other question here. Where in Columbus is this playing? He's from there. Would love to get an audience for the film.
Oh, amazing. Gateway Film Center, right across the street from OSU on, what is it, High Street? I think.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
High and 13th.
Oh, it's Wednesday night at 6:15 and Thursday night at 5:15. It's a great venue. Travis was there last night. It's really, it's cool.
I didn't know Columbus had such great horror fans, man. They came out last night.
Nice.
They
Awesome.
do, yeah, they do. So yeah, and I'll reach out to. I have some other Ohio horror friends who I certainly know people in Columbus. That's great that there's an upcoming date we can advertise for it too. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Sean.
And Rich Green is saying thanks for the plug. What do we got
That's
here?
Rick Blake. That's Rick Blakely, aka Rick Blakely.
Nice.
Hi, Dad.
So, was there any other kind of festival run besides Scream Fest? I mean, you peaked.
You
right
peaked,
there.
and
You peaked, so maybe there wasn't.
How
but,
many were you in before you peaked and won one?
Yeah.
One? Was it one and done?
That was the first one. What I think we played Atlanta like the week before or something. But
2 days before.
2 days before. But yeah, Travis submitted the rough cut to Screamfest. We got in that, had to rush to get them the DCP. That was crazy.
Wow.
And then we won Best Picture and Travis won Best Director.
Best Director. Wow.
And then we did, where else did we play? We played at Jim Thorpe Panic Fest in Kansas City.
Yep.
Yeah. There was a couple other, one or two other ones. And then we're going to play at Grimfest in Manchester, England on October 8th.
Oh, that's awesome. Are you going for that?
Yeah, we are. We both are.
So cool. Going there with distribution, with it out there and not having to worry about winning or anything. I mean, that's got to feel pretty good. You could just enjoy. I mean, obviously you got to keep advertising it and getting it out there, but still, some of the hard work is you don't have to keep selling.
I don't feel nervous about I feel excited about presenting it for an audience, no matter which way they feel, because I'm a realist. Like, it's either going to be for you or not for you, and I don't have a say in that anymore.
Well, and horror is the one genre that has festivals. Is like, no, everybody here is going to be into that. Like other film festivals, and Paul, we'll talk about Telluride after we're done with the movie here, because you went to Telluride. But that's the sort of thing of like, well, I don't know. Oh shoot, I'm in the Holocaust thing. I'm not a big Holocaust movie fan, or whatever.
There was one. You nailed it.
There was one, right? But a horror fest, you're like, well, I'm going to like any of these. It's like, let's just set the schedule. Let's go to this one. Which one's getting hype?
Was that Telluride horror, or was that Telluride?
Oh, I know they have it later in the year horror thing, but this was the straight up 50th version of the thing. It is funny, Adam, because there was one point where you go, should I go to the Holocaust movie or the artists who learn about themselves prisoners who learn about themselves through art documentary, or the people struggling to get out of North Korea documentary? It's like heavy.
That's
all brilliant, by the way.
I'm sure they're all good, but that's a lot.
But that is the unique thing about a horror fest, right?
Different kind of horror, though. Yeah.
Eight Pound Dead would play great in that block.
But what are the audiences at Horror Fest? That's supposed to be so much fun because everybody's down for it. Everybody's into it. Everybody, you're not going to hand a hand card out on the street. I don't know if that's done anymore, but you're not going to hand a hand card to somebody that's going to go, what the fuck is this? They're going to go, oh, a horror movie. I love these, Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The Vegas thing.
Oh, right.
Here, throw this away. Which we used to do it for improv or whatever. Here, throw this away.
Throw this away for me. Thank you.
Can you throw this away for me? Thank you.
I want to give a shout out to an actor in your film, Alicia Soper.
Oh,
because I showed up to your pre-party on Friday, and she said, "Paul," I'm like, hello, and I almost took a second because she plays Marilyn Monroe up in Universal Studios Hollywood. I worked there for 18 years, so our paths have crossed, although she knows, I think, my girlfriend even more so, who's currently working up there. And I came home and I said, yeah, Alicia was in this. Oh, she's talked about that movie. Oh, I didn't go because my girlfriend doesn't do 10-15 very well, but she'll have to see it at some point this week or on streaming. But it was good to see her up there. But she was really good. So
really good cast.
Yeah.
I never worked with her before. We got her through Allie Trasher, who plays Carrie. They're buddies, and I think they had done some immersive horror gigs before. And I think she also plays Lucille Ball. I might be wrong on that. She plays someone else besides Marilyn Monroe. She's a former Disney princess. I mean, how awesome is that?
Yeah. And then you
and you killed her.
Killed them all.
Did anyone say that the title of this movie, that there was some sort of spoiler thing? I mean, what's crazy is the movie is called is that just like a ballsy move, Jonathan? You're like, I'm going to call it the number of people that are going to die. So when you go into it, you're like, I wonder who the final girl is. You're like, let me count. I don't know. I don't know if there could be one, you know?
Originally, I didn't have a title, and I called it Found Dead when I wrote the first script. Like, you know, I didn't know. And I sent it to Travis, and he was like, well, what does that mean? And I was like, you know, in the newspaper, you know, Found Dead or whatever. Thing. And he's like, well, let's just call it that. And it did seem ballsy, but it seemed cool. Like, you know, we all know, you know, most movies should be called, you know, 10 teenagers in the woods. Or, you know, it's like, we know what's going to happen, you know, frisky teens die or whatever. So it's and as Travis always says, we're all going to die. We just don't know how or when. And,
we just don't know by what weapon.
Yeah.
But I will say, and this was,
I think, in the house, you know what I mean? Like, these people were held hostage by words.
Yeah,
this
is true.
There are more than 8 characters, so that was the fun on my path.
This is true.
Okay, wait a second. So all right, we're almost to that number. Well, who's left? And you know, so you're figuring all that out as you go too, which was fun.
Isn't it great though that the idea of the single location movie? Obviously, it's the cheapest movie. You know, you want to keep your budget low, so that's why a single cabin or a single location, you know, is always popular. But the small cast thing also, I think it all really works to the micro budget movie, particularly horror, because you don't want it to feel like, well, the army could come and help. The budget won't allow for that. You know, I mean, I love that there's so much part and parcel, and you guys took advantage of all of it, I think, for a horror movie, for a cabin in the woods, or, you know, a slasher movie. It's just so fun how the playground has less things in some ways than the big playground for the rich school, but you have so much more fun because you've discovered more things in the sandbox, I guess, is to complete the analogy.
Well, I think the first film that I was trying to do with another writer who Jonathan was going to kind of produce on that.
Yeah.
He was making this, he's a great writer, friend of mine, but he was making something that was outside of my budget. It was kind of like Village of the Damned meets, Kids versus Aliens, maybe, you know, where it's just like an alien invasion and levitation, and I didn't have that, and so John said, why don't we put all of our stock into the whodunit, not the whodunit of it all, but the murder mystery.
Mm-hmm.
And in the conversations, and he took the time, unbeknownst to me, right? Like, didn't you start writing that on the sly while we were kind of noting the other film?
Are you saying a different script, or that this script came out of those conversations? Okay.
Yeah, I knew that we needed something small and relatively contained. And I really like movies like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf and Tape, Death Trap, just things that are you know, one room or one room adjacent, not too many characters. And so I started writing something, behind his back, and because I was embarrassed, and I just worked on it for a couple months, I think. And then when I got to something I thought was like, yeah, maybe we could do that, I presented it, and he really liked it. So we just, from the day after I showed him, we just were in pre-production, and awesome. We set a date and stuck to it somehow.
Damn.
Man, in the middle of COVID, I had a heart attack in the middle of pre-pro. We had all kinds of fucking issues that tried to.
The day before our first table read, you had a heart attack.
I did, yeah.
An actual heart attack?
An actual? Is this real?
Heart attack, yes.
Jonathan Buchanan, you've had a heart attack?
I have.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know this. You know, you stop talking to people for a while, and look at all the crap that happens.
Yeah.
Oh my
Thank
goodness.
God it wasn't 9 found dead.
Yeah.
Hey.
Holy shit.
This film is dedicated to Jonathan Buchanan, R.I.P.
To this.
Either way.
Well, I think that changes your tagline, which is "Fuck who done it."
Right.
It's about who survives. Jonathan, you did it. You did it, Jonathan.
That is a great tagline. Put that poster up again, Paul.
Oh, yes.
Fuck who done it. Where'd this tagline come up with? Yeah. Fuck who done it. It's who survives.
Jonathan Buchanan original.
Yeah, it's kind of, there's all these whodunit things now, which I love them. They're great. A lot of good shows out that do it. But this wasn't this wasn't a murder mystery. I think I initially thought it could be, but it quickly realized like we're gonna know who the bad guys are. You know, I can't really disguise that, and so that we leaned into that not only with the title, but just when we did the trailer, when we put the murder of our Jenny here, when we put that up front, we just leaned into the fact that we know who did it. Now it's just a matter of again, who survives, and and which is the big thing in horror movies. Of course, the final girl is a big thing, and this movie, we have that sort of, and
sort of,
so
I think it's more dread based than tension based, because once you see them dead, Jonathan writes this amazing act 2. His act 2s are really good. Act 2 is the toughest act, right? But his act 2s are where the meat and the beef is. And I lose myself in reading that act 2 still. I can remember thinking like, oh my gosh, he already showed dead Ricky, but oh no, there he is. Okay, and then you start to go along with Ricky, even though you saw him dead 15 minutes ago, and you forget
an amazing trick.
He's walking into a trap.
Yeah, that's an amazing trick. Is that and well, if I could tie this back into Harrison Ford, we do a show called the Ford Fiesta. There is a sequel to American Graffiti in which we know that Milner dies at the end. At the end of American Graffiti, it says Milner dies, and so one of the most amazing tricks is that from the beginning of that movie, you're like, at some point Milner dies, and you just spend this whole day, and how does that happen? And then also, one of them gets lost in Vietnam. Well, that movie is told in 3 different New Years across 3 different years. So those events have happened in the past of one or the other of them. Anyway,
wow.
That's the loose connection to Harrison Ford.
No, shake it up. Make your audience work. I mean, that's what's appreciated. Your straight linear slasher story has been done 1,000 times. Adding just that little thing to it keeps you on your toes as the viewer, and it's worth it. Yeah. Now, what about the desert? Because we had David Del Rio, who's an actor friend of ours, who directed this film called Roadhead. And sure enough, it's
about
a horror movie
found on the road.
But it took place out in the desert. It took place out in the desert, and lo and behold, is it just cheap, right? Is it just cheap to shoot out there? Is it just easy? I mean, does the heat get to you, or what are the pros and cons?
Yeah, advantages, disadvantages.
Jonathan initially had written this. It was set to be taking place in the mountains, and then at the time, I was living in the ranch where this film takes place, out in 29 Palms.
I was going to ask how you got that location.
And once the mountain location fell through, I asked John, hey, can we pivot and make it a desert location? Because I have this house. Let me just ask the homeowners if we can shoot here. I call John.
And they said, come sit down. And they played you a tune. And is that? No.
That's how it went. Yeah.
Pour you a drink.
Let me pour you a drink.
They're like, that'd be fine. You wouldn't be the first. And I was like, what? They're like, yeah, this other film from 2018, Head Count, was shot here. So shout out to Head Count. That's a fun one that also celebrated how beautiful but creepy that ranch is. And Jonathan, I think, had you ever written like a desert piece before, John? A Dusty Western?
No, not really. I'm from Pennsylvania, so the mountains was a little more of my familiar turf.
Appalachia.
But you've always loved the desert, and then once you see that house and you kind of see how practically it was just a lot better idea. Parking, the space we had, the room we had, because a portion of the crew stayed there. A bunch of us dudes, 6 of us, I'd say, stayed there every night. So
perfect.
The desert was great. It was hot, but it was great.
And you run hot, but like I think you had a first pass of the script when it was the mountains, and then we revised it with the desert, having you actually either look at pictures or do a walkthrough of the house, which really helped, I think, you land where you could go in the house to keep, because the rooms are also part of the transitional or evolution of
right. There's a lot of like opening a door and then suddenly you're 5 hours earlier or the next day
in the same room.
In the same room, right? Exactly. It's some very clever moments like that really keep you going in terms of, I mean, at some point in any movie, you go, well, this type of thing now has to play out, or this type of relationship has to play out. And you go, well, let's see how clever they're going to be with this sort of thing. We know certain things are going to play out in this, but when you get to those moments where suddenly the rug is pulled out from under you, someone's going into that room for one purpose, the rug's pulled out, and then the cops are going into it, and they're discovering the crime scene. It adds a lot of energy to it. It's a really cool way to do the story. Yeah.
Here's Roadhead. So there's your double feature for tonight, folks. Roadhead and 8 Found Dead. There's your double feature.
Nice. Yeah, that's our Barbenheimer.
Yeah, that's your Barbenheimer.
Yeah, one found head.
By the way, if I could say an interesting philosophical thing, and I don't like sit and philosophize about slasher movies, but I do like them. I do like horror movies, and I like the result of if you turn it this way, it becomes this type of movie, or this, and how yours rides all these lines. When you're in the woods, and Cabin in the Woods is the genre, it doesn't mean it has to be in the woods. It means it has to be a secluded location, right? It's just called Cabin in the Woods as a genre. But when you're in the middle of the desert, nobody is coming to help you because as far as you can see is nothing, and that's so the interesting opposite of the woods, where in the woods, it's, anything could be out there. I can't see because I can't see past these trees. Anything could be out there, but you never think like, there could be anybody to save us out there, but it still feels foreboding in two very different ways. Like, but the desert is like, nobody is coming to the rescue. Nobody's out there.
Nobody was coming to our rescue. We got our trucks stuck in the sand. We shot out there at night with cop lights and all this shit, making all kinds of noise. Nobody cared. Nobody stopped by. We were on a sand road.
Wow.
We were out in the middle of nowhere.
Wow. So it's just like one of those classic sort of things. Like Fitzcarraldo, you became a part of the movie as well, right? Trying to haul.
No, that's what David Del Rio said with Roadhead. He said they were filming in the middle of nowhere, but they went just a little bit too far and they crossed into private land without knowing until cars pulled up and they're like, what are you doing? He's like, backing up is what we're doing.
Oh, yeah. Right.
So it's just crazy. It's a Wild West.
The idea for a new movie is what I'm getting.
Yeah, people shooting a movie, they get in trouble. Yeah. Jonathan, are you still doing props?
Still prop master, mostly television.
Did you do props on this, or did you get a break?
I did. I did props. I did a lot of the art department stuff. I painted. Fortunately, Hannah Reisinger was there. She was awesome. She was our production designer. Her and I, we put in a lot of time, moved a lot of furniture. It was brutal, but can only afford so many people, so I wore a lot of hats. We all wore several hats.
Oh, yeah, that's the indie film way, right?
Exactly.
That's a fun thing about it, is like if you know how to do 5 things and you're making a low budget movie, you're doing all 5 of those things.
I suggest watching Austin Butler's Hot Ones. You guys know the Hot Ones?
I've seen it, but not
show.
His.
Yeah.
He tells the story. I'll make it brief, but his whole story of it is great, about working on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And it reminded me of your DP, because like Tarantino would say, all right, we're going to do one more. Why? And like everyone on the set except Austin went, because we fucking love making movies.
Right.
And he looked around like, what is that? He says, we just keep going because we love it.
Yeah.
And so he got into it after a while. You just eventually say that chant with when I get to my first film, I'm going to just steal that directly. And we're going to do this again. You know why? Because we love it. Because we love it. Yeah. Not because we're upset we got to go home. I mean, if you want to go home, stay home. Don't come out to the set. Anyway, that's my whole. So I appreciate that from your DP. His take is very cool.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But going back to the prop stuff, I'm not a big shot, but every once in a while I'm on a show. But quick tangent: is the strike affecting you then, Jonathan, or no?
Yeah. I haven't worked really since April, so we're just waiting.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't think I heard someone say it's finally going to bite him in the wallet, and then maybe the quarter after it bites him in the wallet. So looking, people guess in February, which stings like hell.
If some executive loses his 4th or 5th house, then we'll.
Yeah, that's when it always hurts. But I'm not a big shot, but every once in a while I'm on a show. I was on a show called Cooper Barrett's Guide to Surviving Life. And now I'm looking back on it because I saw your credits on IMDb. I said, could I have held a gun that Jonathan put in my hand as an FBI guy? I also had a notepad and paper, and I don't know, maybe our paths didn't cross, or
maybe I did. They did probably, I don't know, 6 or maybe 9 episodes, and then they wrapped. That was it, and then last minute they decided, oh, shit, let's shoot like 7 more episodes, but a lot of the crew had already gotten more jobs and stuff, and so I just got that job last minute. I think I had less than a week of prep and just jumped into this pre-existing show. I did the last episodes. It was really hard.
I believe it.
The prop master that was there before me, I didn't get to meet him, but he left a bottle of liquor in the gold room with a note that said, "You're going to need this."
Oh,
he was right.
Yeah. The story I always have from doing that show was we were filming on the Fox lot, now whatever, 20th Century Studios. And there was a outdoor area where it was like a casting office, but in the story it was meant to be this library. And I was, again, an FBI guy, just kind of reading a newspaper, but eyeballing the main characters. And they said, let's shoot right now, because this building had the light bouncing off of it just into the area where we were. They wanted to use that light because it's lighting the area. And I looked up, and it was Nakatomi Plaza. And I said, I'm good for life. This is cool. Nakatomi Plaza is lighting my scene.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I'm in. But, yeah, who knew there would be so many stories about Cooper Barrett's Guide to Surviving one season, and you missed it on Fox. But, well, all right. Well, listen, let's wrap this up with where people can watch the film right now. So Columbus still at what was the theater again?
Gateway Film Center.
Hold on, see. I'm gonna make some. Here we go. Columbus, Ohio, Gateway Film Center.
I can make some banners. Okay.
Yeah.
Wednesday night and Thursday night.
And it continues at Lemley Glendale, or did it wrap today?
No, it's Lemley Glendale. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 1:10 p.m. every day.
So you got the full week. Which is cool. Oscar qualified then. There you go.
There you go. We've had a great run at the Lemley. They're super nice. The staff there has been killer, and we've had some great screenings. Sunday afternoon was like, man, that was awesome. And Friday night,
post that. Yeah.
The premiere was nuts.
Yeah, Friday was packed. I expected it. There was the pre-party and all together, the cast and all those people. But to hear Sunday was full too. That's great news.
Yeah, people keep showing up. It's great.
Yeah, and streaming everywhere that you could possibly watch it. Then let me ask you 2 questions. We'll ask you your favorite Harrison Ford movie. What do you want to answer first? Favorite Harrison Ford movie, because we're obsessed. And favorite horror film of all time, since it's the genre you're working in right now. I'll take either answer and however you want to give it to us.
Favorite Harrison Ford, it's got to be Empire Strikes Back. I mean, that's just an easy one. He's the best. That's the best one. Yeah, that's my favorite Harrison Ford.
Yeah, one of the things we found out doing this show is that is his coming out party.
Yeah.
Like, he was great in Star Wars, but he didn't show up till halfway through, and he just owns Empire. Owns it. So good. So charming. So funny.
So much more than dead heat on a merry-go-round.
Yeah.
Paging Mr. Ellis. Paging Mr. Ellis.
It was better. That's true.
I did watch Presumed Innocent recently, and that was pretty good. That was pretty fun. And
that is the one you asked about, because we weren't sure if we were just going to straight up talk 8 Found Dead, or we were going to try and fit Harrison Ford into this conversation. And you're like, have you talked about Presumed Innocent? That was the first thing you said. I'm like, oh, well, must be interesting.
Yeah, no, when we watched that recently, that was Adam's first time too. I was working at a movie theater when that played, so I saw it plenty. It's a good,
cool.
It's adult. Ford grew up in front of us talking, all sorts of crazy Alan Pakula stuff.
Yeah.
Travis, favorite horror or Harrison? Horror or Harrison today in the Ford.
Or a Harrison Ford horror movie like The Possessed.
Spiders are arachnid.
I wasn't familiar with who Harrison Ford was, so I had to look him up. And just kidding. Actually, it's my favorite movie that just features Harrison Ford. It's not about his performance, even though his performance is good. It's The Conversation.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
there's.
I forgot he was in that.
He's important. Tiny role, but he's important.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
Listen, he's the guy who sends Martin Sheen into the jungle in Apocalypse Now. Small role, but important.
Oh, wow.
And suddenly a Harrison Ford movie, kind of. in a way.
Nice.
Yeah, so there's lots to choose from. More than
he is really enjoyable in the conversation. He plays the guy who's just supposed to get the tapes from. He plays a guy named Martin Stett, who works for a guy we don't see or know, who is the one that wants the tapes. So he's the interim. But there's a great scene, and you probably remember this. This will ring a bell, when they go to the security guard convention. So they've got all the new cameras, all this sort of stuff. And so as Gene Hackman's sort of like messing around with it, like, oh, you can, with this little joystick, you can move the camera and this sort of stuff. And he starts moving it around the room and then zooming into the corner. And there's Harrison Ford, who's tailed into this thing. And he's like, he knows he's being followed. That's such a great moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a creepy, great film. I like it. I like it better than The Godfather. I don't know.
Oh, that was a hell of a year.
Fighting words.
I like it better than, I just want to pull up another clip here. I like it better than Getting Straight, personally.
Oh, Harry, Jan, wait. Hey, you weren't going to walk by, were you? I was waiting for you. We were having a party. You left the door open. We were waiting for you.
Thanks, Jake. It was some other time. I'm really
Oh,
pushed.
no, man, come in just for one drink. Come on, don't be
who's
that
there?
way. Everybody, all the rejects.
No, really. I'm going to crash. I'm very tired.
Oh, man. That was awesome.
I love all the rejects.
They're all here, man. Come on in.
Come on, man. All the rejects are here. But still, it's a better movie than Getting Straight.
All right, it's favorite horror movies, and then we'll call it. What do you got?
Black
were there
Christmas
any
for
that
me.
inspired this? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh. Well, The Strangers inspired this one, I would say, from a horror standpoint. But my favorite is Black Christmas, 1974.
Oh, what a wonderful choice.
Bob Clark.
Yeah, Bob Clark, director of Porky's, and wonderfully, he directed Black Christmas and A Christmas Story. That is such perfection in his career arc
He
that
loves the
those two
holiday.
exist. Killing the
Big fan of
holiday.
the J-Man. Yeah.
The Strangers creeps me out. It's all because of the last line, the last couple lines. Why are you doing this? I wouldn't even say it in case you haven't seen it, but it's
Yeah. Don't
thing
say
in the
it.
world.
That
Jonathan?
was great. I mean, I'm going to say Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, not typically considered a horror movie, but it's fucked up. I mean, that's
It
people
is.
getting assaulted by, coming into a house voluntarily, trying to get something out of it, trying to raise their status in the local university community, and just getting completely ripped to shreds. And then watching also the two bad guys, the two monsters, also attacking each other the whole time. I mean, it's just great. It's just so violent for a movie without any bloodshed. And it's kind of an assault on the audience too, because you don't know what the fuck is going on.
John showed me that film and Death Trap as like, we can do this. And I was like, man, thank you for and he gave me a little film education,
Social horror, you could call it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a good call to call that movie a horror. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? And of course, the people at the cabin in the movie are named Liz and Richard, which is
that.
You
figured it out.
Okay, was I supposed to say that, or audience?
No,
is
no,
supposed to...
that's,
okay.
No, that's
go
fine.
ahead. Look, that's just me being a clever boy.
Nobody's seen that anyway, so they're still not going to know what you're talking about. Go see Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, please.
Tying it into Harrison Ford like we do. I saw that recently at the Geffen. I don't know if you made it out, but the Callista Flockhart starred in that with Zachary Quinto. They did it at the Geffen recently, and it was very good, I thought.
I hadn't missed that. Shit.
Yeah, good production. I mean, just high energy and snapping at each other. And I mean, Flockhart was just a mess. All that stuff. It was just beautiful.
Wait, so you guys are aficionados of Harrison, right?
Correct the window.
One could say.
Was in Santa Monica, he landed a plane on someone's house, correct?
What about that golf course?
Was it the golf? Oh, it was the golf course.
For sure,
Did it
golf
crash
course.
Okay, it was not on someone's property.
That was Howard Hughes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that golf course was bracketed by condos. I mean, it was like I think that in the news was the fact that a little bit left, a little bit right, and he would be,
Yeah, true.
That's how good a pilot and bad a pilot he is. That's how good a pilot he is because he had malfunctions. So,
And Haish was the one that crash into someone's residence with a vehicle. Right?
Yes, but that was the end. Yeah, it was the end of her. But yeah.
Is that 6 Days, 7 Nights?
Which someone here recommends is in fact a horror movie. Someone recommends.
Okay, there we go. Right.
Someone suggested it's a horror movie. So.
What a time!
Do we have the clip from that?
We do actually.
Can you play it, Paul? Play a little 6 Days, 7 Nights for the crowd here.
Sure.
I saw that in the theater.
What was that?
He needed a moment. His character needed a moment.
He needed a moment. He went into the woods.
They were meant for each other.
Well, I want to chat about the 50th Telluride Film Festival. You're welcome to hang out and hear about the movies. If you got to get, that's cool. But whatever you want to do,
I'll hang out. Yeah.
I got a mini.
I just landed. I gotta get a coffee and a smoke in me, fellas. Thank you
Yeah,
so
I think
much
you
for
need.
having
I think
me.
we need to get you out of here.
I get that. Wanted to give you that window, but thanks for showing
Thank
up.
you so much.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much
buddy,
for doing a what we call a Mark Edward Hoyk, which is to go to a Starbucks so they can be on our show.
Yeah.
Thanks, you guys. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
a lot.
Johnny. Good work.
All right, now that Travis is out of here, I got to talk about two projects that Jonathan and I worked on. Actually, no, one project that Jonathan worked on. But when I first met Jonathan, I met him through Chad Wilson, the great Chad Wilson. Sorry, I don't know why I just said Chad Wilson without saying the great Chad Wilson. And he immediately goes, I got to introduce you to this guy because I met him. I was, filmmaker in Chicago. We had that whole like Cherry Bomb DVD thing from Rich Singh. So that gave great cause to like acquire a group of filmmakers, many of which I just met, including Chad. And so this launched friendships that have lasted to this day. Steve Delahoyd, and Charlie Rivkin, all these people. I'm like, who do I know that makes movies? And I think, Paul, you were just gone at that point. So otherwise you would have been probably part of this crew too. But when I met Chad through Justin Kaufman, he goes, you got to meet my friend Jonathan. He goes, have you seen the video Juicy Good Stuff? And I don't know if YouTube was like enough that like it couldn't be pulled up on a phone or this sort of thing. It's like, you'll have, and in fact, it probably wasn't even on YouTube. It was just like, I'll have to go find my DV tape of Juicy Good Stuff and show that to or whatever.
Yeah.
At the
We
time.
did that though. I remember when you went to work on that Carradine film.
Yeah.
American, what was it?
American Reel. Yeah.
American Reel. And you came back with the videotape and you're like, this has got all the great stuff on it. The original South Park, the drunk guy who gives directions, the farting preacher. They're all on a tape, Like they were at
the original YouTube was a VHS tape that 12 generations deep that would be handed around the film set. And it was the original South Park, farting preacher. It was South Park, the Spirit of Christmas, farting preacher, guy gives directions. It was all the classics. but Jonathan has been a director for 20 years now or more, because this video is in the 90s. And the reason that Chad was like, oh my God, you got to see this is you're doing a whole bunch of stuff in this. I mean, it's a very silly video, a very silly musician.
It's very silly.
But do you want me to show it? Is it okay if I show a little bit?
Yeah, go for it.
This just is what just endears me forever is that to me, Chad was so up on this and it's like, you got to meet my friend because he did this video. And it just, this is the first time I watched it today when you sent me the link to it. And I'm like, it still makes me giggle just as much as it did back then. Here's just a little bit of Juicy Good Stuff from a very young Jonathan Buchanan at this point. This is way back when, I think. I mean, you were doing stuff that
2001, I think.
Is this 2001? Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Directed it. We shot it in Detroit. I met him.
This isn't Chicago.
Yeah, this was in Detroit. I met him. Someone wanted to do a music video, rap video in Detroit. So I went out there. I met Jim. We did R&B rap videos for about a year or so. And then, but I was his shooter. I shot the stuff. Someone saw me with a video camera at a metal show and just thought, well, this guy's the DP. And I just said, okay. And just tried to figure it out. Well, so, yeah.
Yeah, well, you were introduced as a filmmaker by Chad. It was like, oh, you got to meet my buddies.
I mean, I've directed a lot of stuff too. I directed a zillion music videos back in the early 2000s and stuff, but I think I just shot this and did a little acting in it.
Oh, are you in this? Oh, maybe
I'm in dancing. I have an orange Harley Davidson shirt and some silly pants.
Oh, I might have to go back and pull a different clip.
I think I'm wearing a cowboy hat.
I just pulled the panda dance here.
That's Ryan Steinhauer.
Is it?
Yeah, that's our buddy from back in Detroit.
The whole thing is this guy named Six Foe, right?
Yeah.
Six Foe. He goes around and gives people the juicy good stuff, and it makes people jump out of wheelchairs and fly and shake their butts. Yes. But the result of this, what happens when this guy gets a little bit of the juicy good stuff, I think is a good representative example. But I'll have to go find your cameo in here. But here we go.
Work that juicy good stuff. Touch your knees and put your rump in the air. Work that juicy good stuff. Put a hump in your back and lift your rump. Now shake that juicy good stuff. Put a hump in your back and lift your rump. Now shake that juicy good stuff. One leg up and shake your rump. Now bounce that juicy good stuff. Put one leg up and work your rump. Now work that juicy good stuff. Pop that juicy good stuff. Throw that juicy good stuff. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Well, there's one thing about that juicy good stuff. If it's too good, some brothers don't know how to act. That's why he be stalking you.
I love how his shitty purple cab turns into this shitty black Del Sol. I think that was Stein's car. It's like, oh, look at this upgrade.
Oh, that just tickles me to no end still to this day. Oh, I put it on today and I'm just like, I am laughing just as much as I did the first time that Chad showed me that.
That guy was so silly. It was awesome.
And then the other one was when I first moved here, you needed a voiceover guy.
Yeah.
For a cleaning product. Is that exactly
it?
That's
when we met. I think that.
Gosh, you're right. I feel like we didn't ever really meet and hang out in Chicago. You had moved on. You're right. This
we met here. I'm sure
true.
I got your name from Chad, but we needed a voice, and you have the voice. Well, now Paul, I didn't know Paul at the time. We may have. I'm sorry.
I would now suggest
we met at that WonderCon, didn't we? Isn't that where we met?
You and I did. We ate at Mel's, not Mel's. No, we ate at Norm's, and we went to WonderCon.
Yeah,
Chad.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's When was that? That's a couple years ago.
10 years ago.
10.
Oh, was that long ago?
It was a good while.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Now I'm sorry. I'm having flashbacks to
a
various
beard and long hair's worth of time ago.
Yeah. Right. That's the other thing too. It's like this guy. I don't remember going to WonderCon with this guy. A different guy maybe. But yeah. So here's my wonderful voiceover, and thank you, Jonathan, for hiring me for this. But it's just this is the first time I ever saw these. By the way, you sent me these today. So.
Odor and Stain Eater is your safe and natural solution for completely eliminating odors and stains. Odor and Stain Eater is ideal for use in nursing homes and hospitals to clean and deodorize mattresses, wheelchairs, bedpans, laundry, restroom floors, and no scrubbing. Odor and Stain Eater works great in schools to clean and deodorize gym floors and mats, floors around urinals, outdoor garbage areas and dumpsters, again with
work that juicy good stuff. Touch your knees and put your rump in the air. Work that juicy good stuff. Put a hump in your back and lift your rump. Now shake that juicy good stuff. Put a hump in your back.
Oh,
I just imagine pouring the Stain Eater into the.
Oh yeah, that would have been good. Yeah.
Anyway, so just
I know you too well to buy your voiceover in that at all.
Right. I'm like,
when's he going to start? When is he going to say something wise ass?
Right. Yeah, I kind of wondered. I'm like, do I sound like an announcer? No, I sound like me.
It cleans dumpster areas, restroom floors, your mom's ass. I expected,
Right. All right, Paul. So you went to Telluride. This is a
what? Yes, I did.
This is a big ass festival.
Well, yes and no. I'd never been to one of the prestige film fests, and then my girlfriend heard that. So last Christmas, she started hooking it up, and we cashed in that gift over Labor Day weekend. So yeah, Cannes, Toronto, Tribeca, Sundance, Venice, Berlin. I've never been to any of those. So Telluride seemed like we could drive to it if we just took our time and saw all the Utah national parks along the way, which we did. And then come back through Monument Valley and Mesa Verde National Park, which we did. So 3 flat tires later, we still didn't miss anything.
What the what?
Yeah. We got 1 in Utah and then 2 in Arizona.
Jeez.
Basically, Susan probably should have got new tires in the car before we left. But at least it was like phone calls and quick switches. And there was only, like, in Canyonlands National Park, the car was dead. So we had to rent a Jeep. And that was how you do that park. Because it goes off-road to all sorts of insanely immense canyons you've never seen before that are just phenomenal. So anyway, we end up in Telluride, and the cool thing about it is it's not a huge festival. There isn't like the long line of autograph hounds and the guy just going down and doing all this and then huge badging with all of the studios and stuff. It just is this tiny town, and I'll show you a pic of it, like this. Telluride. Boo, beautiful mountains in the background. And this was the free food they give you on the opening day. They have like a mixer and they have buffets and drinks and stuff, and you can go help yourself right on the main street. They shut Main Street down. This is Main Street. So this is the bigness of the town. This is how big it gets. In fact, my favorite sign on the whole trip
great
was
town. Look at that little
town. What they do is they take,
oh my gosh, and high school soccer. That sign says it all.
They take sorry, that's not it. They take they take an ice rink, they take a gymnasium and other places, and they transform them. They put like some design in there. They call it the Galaxy Theater, so they got some like space stuff all over, and they put curtains also. You never know. You could never tell that you were in a gymnasium unless you looked up and you saw like the hoop had been like retracted up to the ceiling, which is hilarious. But yeah, so that was hilarious. You know, one of the biggest film festivals in the world. But if you came a week earlier, you also could have gotten soccer. And some soccer during it. I think I was there on the second, but if I wanted to watch soccer, I could have. But so anyway, huge films came there. Obviously, it happens the same time as Venice. So some Venice stuff we didn't get, like Maestro, the Bradley Cooper film, and the new Fincher movie, The Killer. But tons came, and there's too much. There's too much. You can't see it all.
Can't imagine.
How many venues? How many venues did they have?
They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They have 10.
Wow.
So this would be a typical day's scheduling. You can try and catch 4 movies, one here, one here, one here, one there, and sometimes a late one if they schedule, if they plan out just right. But you're not going to see everything. But luckily, everything you're going to see is going to be worth seeing. There were a couple I didn't love, but still, you had to see them. There was high pedigree in the people involved and the directors, but with no actors there this year, unless they were operating in a producer's capacity. It was kind of a director's showcase, really, the whole trip. So I saw, but the documentaries killed it. The documentaries crushed. The first thing I saw was called American Symphony, and what they want you to do, they suggest when you go to one of these places, and this was the theater it was in. They call it the Palm Theater, which is just in a school again. But they've come and they've brought in Dolby sound to cover
the gymnasium,
all the audio. So yeah, I can only imagine the next week when they bring the school together to show a video about how photosynthesis works. It has the most killer audio you've ever heard. But the truth is, though, they come in, they transform all these spaces, and the last day is Labor Day, so literally overnight leave no trace of the festival because the next day is school.
Wow.
So the next day it looks like this. It's just a small Colorado town. But anyway, the point is I saw American Symphony because
they must hate it.
Yeah, it's a documentary about John Baptiste. If you know him, he's the band leader for Stephen Colbert.
Right.
And he's won some Grammys recently, and he's trying to put up a symphony at Carnegie Hall. That's what the documentary is about. But there's so many hardships and struggles with him behind the scenes. It just made for an absolutely fascinating documentary. We cried. It was just his wife is a beautiful person. And then he came out and he did a little mini concert afterwards. So that's kind of stuff you want to take advantage of when you go to a fest like this. Could I see this anywhere else? Perhaps no. So that was the first thing we went to.
Yeah.
We saw the new film from Emerald Fennell, who is the director of Promising Young Woman. It's called Saltburn. It's got Barry Keoghan. So
I've heard a lot about this.
It is equally messed up as Promising Young Woman, perhaps more so. But it has an overall tone of, screw the rich. So I think anybody can get behind that one. Maybe no.
Barry Keoghan, one of the more unsettling actors. You're like, no good can come of whatever this scene is because he's in it. It's like,
yeah. In fact, my girlfriend Susan saw The Banshees of Inisherin and then saw this, and he's like, wow, he's creepy, because I don't think she had seen any of his other works, so she only knows him as this sweet guy from Banshees of Inisherin. I'm like, no, you missed Killing of a Sacred Deer and all the other stuff. He's like, weird.
Yeah.
So I think Inisherin's the fluke. She thought that was the way he is. So he's got an interesting career for sure.
Yeah.
And I was talking earlier about how, making a comedy, it's tough to find a place. There weren't a lot. I mentioned the heavy documentaries they made, but there was one of my top 5 favorite filmmakers, Alexander Payne, brought The Holdovers there. And it's funny. He says he comes here and just sees all the old movies because there's a ton of those too. They have a whole director series where like Ethan Hawke introduces all that jazz, or Steve McQueen introduces this, and they show The Long Good Friday. And it's just, you could go there and just watch old movies. You could go there and watch free movies. If you could find a place to stay, everything with a red dot on it here is free. It's either an outdoor screening or just you happen to be able to go inside to an indoor screening of these various movies. And they have all the panels are outdoors too. And I think I told you about the craziest panel. Left to right, that's Leonard Maltin, Barry Jenkins, Vim Vendors, Ken Burns, the moderator, Werner Herzog, Mark Cousins, I think, and then Peter Sellars, talking about Telluride memories. Werner Herzog had met his wife here, and they all had stories to tell, and he's just sitting there going,
Yeah.
I saw Vendor's new film. It's called Perfect Days, and it's about a guy in Japan who cleans toilets and just does everyday interactions with people. Some extraordinary, some not so much. His whole life, not very extraordinary, but boy, is he a good filmmaker. And it's edited so well that you're never like, this is a slog, like something like Amour, which was one of my least favorite movies ever. But it has that
slow for slow sake
capacity, to be a foreign made film that revels in simplicity. But then Herzog comes out to interview Vendors after the film, and I'm crying. I'm going, the
amount of film going on right now is out of control.
Like I said, you haven't lived until you've heard Werner Herzog talk about the isolation of a main character in a Vendors film.
Right.
Because he drives through the city, but you don't realize everyone else in the car are also experiencing their own loneliness. I'm like, only you would see that. But yes, that's true. So that's just incredible. Amazing.
And this is, by the way, for the audience who doesn't know, this has done an amazing thing because I heard these words come out of Paul's mouth. I now want to see every Wim Wenders film. Now, there is not a foreign director whose name you can drop into that sentence and hear it out of Paul's mouth in the entire time I've known him. I want to see blanks, every film by, and insert the name of a foreign filmmaker, So
I told you I came home. I came home and it's
podcast?
What's that?
The next one?
Is this your next podcast?
The Vendors. The
Vendors vehicle.
The Vendors, Fiesta.
No, but I came home. I'm like, can I go see Blue Beetle? I think I can't. I can't go see fucking Blue Beetle.
Oh, I'm so excited to see Blue Beetle.
But anyway, the documentaries I mentioned earlier, Beyond Utopia, it's about people who extract families and individuals from North Korea, which is basically Nazi Germany right now. And they, and they had these people in person because it's such a prestigious festival. Like the pastor Kim, who's like the main pastor who has made his mission. He gets about 1,000 people out a year. Was there, and you just stand up like, God, what have I done? I've done nothing. I've done nothing, guys.
There's the guy.
And sure enough, the film about the art in the prison is also equally good. Because I'll watch an artist talk about their art in any movie. Man on Wire, American Symphony, John Baptiste does it beautifully. And this guy, JR, he wanted to go to this prison, Tehachapi, maximum security, just north of us here in California. And he took photos of all the artists, and he wanted to create a big art piece where if you're looking from a drone or a helicopter, it looks like they're all looking out of the prison. They're larger than life. They're huge. He this is his thing. He made a giant Agnes Varda and had her sticking her head over the top of the Nugget Theater in downtown Telluride.
Amazing.
So this is his art, right? This is what he does.
Wow. What was the other one he created? You said I was trying to catch up there. That was a real installation where you look like you were looking at the same.
The film is about that prison thing, and he got all the prisoners to help lay down the pieces of the giant photography and lay them out with glue and everything.
Jeez.
And if you don't think the art, how do I want to say this? If you think the art transforms these prisoners, well, you'd be correct. So
wow.
I love anything, La La Land's one of my favorite movies. Anytime people just talk about art and its effect on people and the passion they have for it, that's a line from La La Land. People love what other people are passionate about. And so the people in these movies just the way John Batiste talks about music is just fantastic. And the way this guy brought the art to the prison where there's no hope and there's no anything. And then in the Q&A, one of the guys comes out who had been transformed, who went through the system of the prison that in the way it's supposed to work. He had the swastika that was on his cheek removed and it's gone. And he's talking about how he's now going to be the conduit for people to transition from the prison to a real life. And he's going to speak and hold meetings. And he's like completely a reformed person, how it's supposed to go, but it doesn't always. So anyway, I found these documentaries absolutely stunning. And Food Inc. too, if you ever saw Food Inc., which basically tells you your food is killing us. Well, the sequel is more of the same.
Would that play well? Would that play well at Scream Fest as well? That a horror movie that could play. I'm trying to think of like how these festivals. You're like maybe you're not into this type of thing or that type of thing. But
there's the team from that. You got the second guy in from the left is Eric Schlosser, who wrote Fast Food Nation.
Okay.
Michael Pollan, the great next to him, the great author and environmentalist. The directors are down front. This guy in the green is a farmer who created a whole system where his animals eat and plow the land while he seeds it, and so he can just do everything without all this factory farm nonsense and all the stuff that is poisoning us from Monsanto. So anyway, that's a good documentary as well. There's a good film called Daddy-O with Sean Penn. Picks up Dakota Johnson at JFK and drives her to downtown.
And you said this is
Manhattan.
Just them in the car for the entire runtime.
And that's
about a compressed, just like 8 Found Dead. Let me put that up here. A single location, compressed time frame and single location. I love that idea. How in the world do you sustain a conversation in a car the entire time, like Locke? Remember that movie Locke?
I was gonna say at least they had 2 people. Locke had one and a guy on the phone
calls.
But man, now don't you think about Concrete a lot different now? That was good.
Concrete. Wait, what?
I forget the Concrete.
The whole movie is about the biggest.
Right,
and whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Now that was that we saw that at the Phoenix Film Fest.
I suddenly felt very alone there. I was like, oh man, that did not land. Nobody knows about the Concrete.
Oh my gosh, I haven't seen Locke in so long, but
yeah.
Great.
No, we talked to Stephen Knight after that film, who wrote that, and it's challenging to do. And Dakota Johnson, of all people, produced this movie too. So
oh wow.
They did a great job. And Sean Penn is just great, as you can imagine. But they're just 2 diverse people. They hit construction at one point, so I'm like, how are they going to get this to be 90 minutes? Oh, okay. So they continue their conversations, and it's surprising, and it doesn't go exactly where you think it would go. And yet, at the end, I just cried a lot at these movies. They were very moving a lot of the time. There's a documentary about Andy Kaufman, which we need. There hasn't been a definitive compilation of everything he did.
Right.
Now, Thank You Very Much is that doc. So look for that to come out soon.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
There was a whole Andy Kaufman renaissance in like 2003 or 4 or something. And yeah, some things came out, but they were never these definitive. A book came out, but it was very much Zamuta's take. There was another book that came out that Zamuta said that doesn't even talk correctly. And then a bunch of videos and stuff like that. So yeah, it's time for an Andy Kaufman renaissance. Didn't he just get his star on the Walk of Fame?
I don't know.
And then someone like a female comedian. What's her name?
Sarah Silverman?
No, the voice from Bob's Burgers. What's her name?
I
keep wanting to say Lord. Kristen Schaal. I think it was Kristen Schaal got raised the money to get a little footbridge that goes over the star as a bit, which is amazing. And the star is beneath it is now encased, so it can't be stepped on. It's like a whole bit that there's and I have to go see if it's still there or whatever, if it was there as a bit for the day. But I thought that was really funny. Raised a whole bunch of money. There's names on it and stuff like that from the people that contributed to it. And then they had an inauguration. They cut the thing of the footbridge that goes over his star. I'm like, that's Andy Kaufman would love that.
Yeah, this one's pretty. This one's pretty. What's the word?
The good stuff.
This documentary is pretty well sanctioned. You know, Zumuda's in it. His girlfriend, Andy's former girlfriend, is in it. Lynn, what's her name? They interview Steve Martin, so they get some big people to talk about everything.
Well, I'll listen to Steve Martin talk about comedy anytime.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's a whole bunch of stuff coming out that I got to see in advance and with the great people, and didn't get rejected from any lines. You know, you have to go and you get this thing called.
Didn't get kicked out of any after parties. That's a tradition. By the way, Jonathan, did you get kicked out of any after parties at Screamfest? That's a tradition, right?
Oh, man, the party scene really wasn't happening there, but I have broken into many parties at Sundance.
Yes.
But yeah, climbed the side of buildings, all kinds of stuff.
Were you at Sundance with Rusty Nails? Did you know Rusty Nails?
I did know Rusty, yeah.
Everybody knew Rusty.
Everybody did.
But he broke into Sundance numerous times as well. I don't know. Yeah,
I was there for maybe all those times.
You really?
Yeah,
wow.
Okay. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it's just a kind of underground person that everybody ended up knowing if they were into film in Chicago. Rusty Nails.
So let me wrap up with just some shots of this place. Again, Telluride's is gorgeous.
Wow.
You take this gondola over the hill to a place called Mountain Village, and Mountain Village has the Chuck Jones Theater there. So,
oh my God.
Yeah.
What? How does this exist? How does anything exist, ladies and gentlemen? How did mankind come up with this idea? Who got the idea, oh, we should live here, this impenetrable wilderness, this impossible place, and look at it.
That's the view from our Airbnb. Yeah. So I have to sell everything I own to ensure that I can go back to this again next year.
Yeah, I'd say so. Oh my gosh. Wow. That's amazing. That's really cool, Paul.
Yeah.
That looks awesome.
That's some good movie shit.
And I'll keep this quick, but I do want to tell Roach Smith I did attend Foreigner.
Oh, yeah.
F-A-U-X Renner. I love
There's nobody from the band still in the band. That's true. Not the original guys. But again, guys who are in the band now have been in the band longer than the original guys, including Kelly Hansen, who's one of the best rock voices of all time. I think I have a bad iPhone 8 photo of him here. Yeah.
Nice.
He was in rare form, but said he's 62. He's been touring 9 months a year for 20 years. So Foreigner's hanging it up. They're the first band I ever saw. So I needed to see them on their last tour. No surprise. The lighters came out for I Want to Know What Love Is. They had all the 80s stuff, fire, smoke, you name it. This upper right shot is Kelly Hansen. You can see the stage on the left and then a pole that he's standing on top of on the right. That's for Jukebox Hero. So they did it. They did everything, and then they got out of Dodge, and I'll miss him. But there's a whole lot of stuff. There's like 20 years of music of theirs I haven't really listened.
Oh, you want to know what my favorite?
Explore that.
You want to know what my favorite Foreigner song is?
We 69, I'm cool with that. You got tongue ring, you know what to do with that. There's nothing but lust when we rock the bus and spend money on girls with juicy good stuff. Work that juicy good stuff.
Yeah, that was me.
Should I find the clip?
I did see you there. I did see it.
That's awesome.
Oh God, I saw Foreigner like 10, 12 years ago. Man, it was awesome. They were great.
Yeah, like no Lou Graham, but Kelly Hansen's fantastic. That guy's.
Awesome.
And that's one of those bands where you go, oh, I think I know all the hits, and then they keep playing them. And you're like, oh, this one too.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you said name, I'd be like, I could name 2 or 3 songs, and then they play 10, and you're like, I know every word.
I know all these. Yeah.
Without ever opening an album. Thank God for radio.
The only one this, as Roach Smythe says, tribute band played. Stop it, get out of here. The only one they didn't play that
the ultimate tribute, but yes.
The only one they didn't play I thought was a hit was That Was Yesterday, the second hit from Agent Provocateur, Where I Want to Know What Love Is came from. Inside Information really only had Say You Will as a hit, and they did that at a cappella, so it was a good choice for that. Other than that, yeah, everything. Cold as Ice, Feels Like the First Time, Double Vision, et cetera, et cetera.
Double Vision.
It was great.
God,
Hot Blooded. You know. And I like this too. Foreigner. Maybe that's our band.
Oh, Foreigner! Oh, what are Harrison Ford covers of Foreigner songs? Oh my gosh.
He's never. He did sing in one movie, right? American Graffiti.
Oh well, no, he sang in the shower in Frantic.
Oh, that's true.
He sang in the car in American Graffiti, and he sang. No, he's got a third song, Paul. He sings. He sings more. Oh wait, he sings in Witness.
Oh, he does.
Know much about history.
About history. Yeah.
And of course, Sabotage.
I can't stand it. I know you planned it. I'm going to set it straight. This Watergate, I can't stand rocking when I'm in here, because your crystal ball ain't so crystal clear.
This is Adam. Fun with AI.
Fun with AI, ladies and gentlemen.
What an incredible waste of time.
That's true. All right, so that's my Telluride report. Basically, if you get a lot of money, go to that. But I think I'm spoiled. I don't know if I could go.
if you got a lot of money, if you got a lot of money, go to that.
Yeah.
Okay. Meanwhile, 8 Found Dead available on VOD everywhere. At the Lamely this week. At the Ohio friends assemble. Ohio horror fans assemble. Columbus, Ohio, Gateway Film Center, Wednesday and Thursday. This is awesome. I'm going to plug the hell out of that.
Hey, can I just show you a tweet that has nothing to do with Harrison Ford, but most of our show today hasn't?
Absolutely.
That you will appreciate, Adam. And Jonathan, perhaps, but I know, Adam, this is up your alley. This was the courtroom set on an episode of Miami Vice I watched last night. The show was operating on another level entirely.
Oh, my God.
That's insane.
That's
a courtroom.
That's a courtroom. Oh, my God.
So Jesse Hawkins, shrewd observation. Yeah, this
wow. Look at that on another level entirely. Holy shit! Look at that. Amazing. Oh my God. Nice.
Also, Adam, I should point out, I got a little thing. Your reel reached 1.2K accounts, which I guess means they all watched it. I don't know. But either way, your sequel rant did well.
That's good. I have to put more stuff up on our reels. I have so much stuff to put up there.
And
we might even have to start a TikTok, Paul. I don't know what to tell you. I don't want to do it either. I don't want to do it either.
I've resisted. I have some 20-somethings telling me the movie would do a lot better if I did TikTok. But I don't know.
I have a feeling we're not 20-something enough for that to be true.
But and then you may notice our middle names today: Paul Harkness Preston and Adam Harkness Witt. This is in memory of a guy who would always chime in on our show the chat.
Ever present.
Garth Harkness McMurray, and a big fan of the movie Trivia Schmodown, which Adam and I were part of. If you don't know Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan, do you know we were in a movie trivia league?
I do know about Schmodown, yes. I've watched some of that.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
So it was, but I mean, this guy Garth probably would have been better than all of us. I mean, maybe he didn't have the WWE chops that Christian Harloff, who founded the league, required out of his players.
No, he might have had that too, because he was into that as well.
That's true, yeah.
He came from all quadrants of the fandom.
But he always chimed in with fun stuff on our show, like with those headphones, Adam is looking like Lobot, and that's kind of true. You got a little Lobot vibe going, Adam.
Oh, that's right. That was in Vegas. I had tried to block the background, so everything around my headphones would sort of grow as I would turn my head with this sort of like trying to fuzz the background, and I would get these big Lobot. So yeah.
Let's see, and then. I wonder if Adam has done the edit mixing the Fugitive parade scene with Ferris Bueller's Day Out parade scene yet. So that would be some Harrison Ford fun. That should be a bonus. Put that on TikTok.
Yeah. There we go.
And this was in response, I believe, to we were playing Add to Cart, where Adam goes out and finds things that he might want to buy that are Harrison Ford action figure related. You get the
True.
Walter, when you buy a Walter Donovan, a pop-up should say, "You chose wisely." And then the Sala figure in your kitty litter box digging with his shovel.
This is a good one. In honor of Garth, I'm going to do all of these things.
Yeah. You got a Sala coming or no?
Not yet. I just added to cart, although I haven't hit order yet, the classic OG Indiana Jones. I figure I got to get that before I get Temple, and then maybe Cairo. But yeah, Sala and Marion got to come in there as well, because I need all the Raiders guys more than the other movies.
Yeah, and Robert Adams saying he participated in a lot of trivia leagues and Schmodown competitor trivia study sessions.
Yeah.
So, he was involved, that dude.
Yeah, he was very involved.
And I'm very happy it translated to him watching our nonsense here every Monday.
Yeah, it was
and
wonderful.
When he chimed in, it was great. And yeah, we'll miss him.
Yeah, I mean, we just got a great brain trust here where, if Paul and I go, oh, what was the movie with blah, 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 there's Garth, there's, Roach Smythe, there's all these, we just have such a great brain trust. Yeah, William.
Cam.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, so we've been blessed to meet so many good people through the Schmodown and through our efforts here. And so he was just one of the good guys. Yeah.
And here is a link that his family suggested people could go to donate to. We were talking, I think, before we came on the air, that may not have been hemophilia that took him down, but it certainly aggravated the things that then piled on him to complicate his health. And so,
yeah, he's been in and out. One of those things, been in and out of the hospital. My heart broke every time because he'd be, I'm out. And then he'd be back in and you're like, God damn it, just give the guy a fucking break, And I think the hemophilia, the last time when he got home and had some trouble and fell, that was the thing, which might naturally happen anyway. You're having trouble getting around and stuff like that. But if you're a hemophiliac, you can't be falling the way he was falling and unable to move and stuff. So yeah, poor guy. Spent so much of the last year in a hospital. That poor guy.
Yeah.
Was hoping for a nice big victory party for him by getting out. But anyway.
Yeah.
We'll miss him.
But we got the bad news, and I know people, Robert Adams, again, chiming in here. I know he and his brother put on a big event, too, that I have to go watch. I didn't know about it, so I got to go check out the archived version of their tribute to Garth.
Yeah. Yeah, he was very good at trivia. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I'd like to see some video because we never had him on as a guest or anything like that. And I didn't see him in a whole lot of Zooms that I was in. There were sort of circles of training and stuff like that. And so I'd like to see if any people had clips of Garth joining into some of the shows, some of those late night drunken shows during quarantine. I have to imagine he popped up on a bunch of those.
Yeah.
A lot of trivia nerds, movie nerds.
And speaking of the fans, I was going to bring this up, but I've been prompted now by Cameron herself to do it. But yeah, Saturday, our friend Robert Buscemi had a comedy show called the Squozen and Penguin Show.
Oh, I have photos.
And Jonathan, you know Robert Buscemi? He's Chicago.
Do you know that name?
You've mentioned that name. I don't think I know him. I don't think so.
Yeah.
But
he did a comedy show, very funny. The standout to me was this Lizzie Cooperman. What a set. She just came out
right?
On fire.
On fire. Yeah. So funny. I've heard her name before, but it's one of those people where, I've heard the name, but never actually seen her perform. And obviously she's friends of some of the people. I got two great photos here because Tony Sam also showed up, but Lizzie Cooperman just brought the house down. She takes a piano with her everywhere. And then proceeds to just lay on it for punchlines. It's basically like whenever she hits a punchline, she'll just slam onto that thing. And that's just her prop. That's her, Gallagher watermelon, I guess. I don't know what you would call it, but her a constant companion on stage. Very, very funny. She really brought the house down. She was so fun. I mean, it's great in comedy shows. Obviously, you laugh a lot, but then there's those times where you're just absolutely doubled over, and she really got me the full doubled over because she did a bit about the fact that people, when they talk about Instant Pot, and I did this too when I got the fryer one, the air fryer. Yeah, you know what?
It was great.
They are so goddamn handy. I did have to tell people for about a month ago, do you have one of these things? Do you have one of these? Oh, they're really good. And her bit is she ran through the crowd and she's like, oh, do you have an air fryer? Oh my God, you have to get one. And the energy as she was just building up with that piece was so good. So I had the best time watching that. But also seeing, after all of this, after the quarantine, comedy is still dead. Comedy, improv is still, it's back to where it was in 1995. It's like, oh, it's in somebody's living room or someone's, this or that. So I've really had a good time the last few months, like seeing Robert Buscemi do stand up for the first time in 4 years. I think I've seen it, So yeah, that was really cool.
And then there in the crowd was Cam, so that we had a nice talk afterwards. I just done this big trip to Telluride, so she was sharing the places she's traveled recently, and they're on my list: Pinecrest, California, and the Dardanelles, and Strawberry, California, all up there north of Yosemite Park. So, good seeing her.
Yeah, good seeing Cam. And then she and I Ubered back to her place. I gave her a ride home, and then I just took her because it was on the way. She lives downtown. So yeah, we had a nice little car ride. And a funny thing, I've been kind of dieting since I got back from Vegas a little bit, but the problem is I've got my metabolism up so much I'm hungry all the time. And so I was starving before I went to that show. I was starving during that show. And then afterwards, Cam's like, "You want an apple?" I'm like, "Oh, God bless you." So she gives me an apple. She goes, "How about a pear?" She pulls a pear out of her purse. I'm like, yeah, I'll take a pear. And she's like, "How about some corn nuts?" She pulls corn nuts out. So I left with just this because I was starving, and I left with this whole care package. Thank you, Cam. I was absolutely, literally starving. So that was nice. So that was a very nice Cam thing of like, "Oh, would you like some snacks out of the purse?"
That's cool.
And by the way, Tony Sam. Oh, finally, so I have to convert every photo now. This is just completely obnoxious to me. But hey, evidently these are great new formats that I can't use. But I also have to show. Here's a photo of Buscemi. The place that we rented, or that they rented, was called the Moon Huts. Have you heard of the Moon Huts, Jonathan?
No.
Have you ever shot at the Moon Huts? I guess it's a pretty big, shooting location, and you'll see how cool. The cool thing is when Buscemi was doing a regular set of shows called Surprise, he would find the coolest venues. There's a place called the Brewery over east of downtown. But check this venue out. How cool is this?
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like a bunker.
It's a bunker. Yeah. And so basically there's a place to the left and right of this. There's 3 of these. This one is the one for shooting and everything. And then I think they might live in the one to the, or at least it's a domicile, look to one side and then kind of storage on the other side. But there's like 3 of these things, and it's like such a cool little unique thing. And then, Buscemi is a part of the alternative underground comedy. And along with that comes Tony Sam, who I also haven't seen in a while either. And this is Tony Sam's piece. I mean, this is just classic alt comedy. His piece is a defense attorney giving a summary to the jury on a case involving someone who likes to dress up like animals.
No, he's in defense of animals who want to dress in clothing.
Right. I was going to say,
so he's giving the final summation. Yeah.
The final summation.
And it ends up being like a
ladies and gentlemen of the jury
piece. Yeah.
And this whole, escalating up to the, playing on the patriotism of the people. And so anyway, like it was alt comedy with a capital A and a capital C. And that was really fun. But.
So there you go. If Adam posts about stuff,
comedy's back.
Be a Cam and go check it out.
Yeah, good to see you, Cam. Thanks for the snacks, by the way. Very good.
What else was in there? Was that the only snacks? Were there more? If you would have,
I think she gave me all of her snacks.
Okay.
Although she had some sort of chocolate bar type thing too. So I got some sort of a fancy one too.
Yeah,
maybe it's that place. I went and ate after that too. I don't know. Maybe it's you get in a bunker and you feel like you just have to have food. I don't know.
Well, I was like hungry before I went, but I'm like, I got to get there on time. And I met Sandy, Sandy Marshall from Schadenfreude, my sketch troupe. So that was really cool too, because it's a bunch of Chicago people like Tony Sam and Robert Buscemi, and then Sandy, who's a recent transplant here. And so it was like, it was really good stuff. It was the good stuff.
69, I'm cool with that. You got tongue ring, you know what to do with that. There's nothing but lust when we walk the bus and spend money on girls with juice.
I did ask Jonathan 5 times. I go, "Are you sure you want me to show any clips from this, or do you want this brand new Jonathan Buchanan that people know now, the auteur, the writer?" I'm like, "Do you want anybody to know you did anything before this? Because I'll,
No, I want to restart my dancing career. I think that's good. This will help.
It's good.
What an incredible waste of time. What an incredible waste of time.
Oh, what power you have, Adam.
We get a little loopy. Yeah, we start playing random clips at the end of the show because
could you both?
Spider's not a bad fellow.
Okay, so that's our show, I think, and let's.
I think that is our show. We've done a whole bunch of show.
Got a few other things I could show, but I could save them for next week. Hopefully, next week, for the love of God, we get on to Clear and Present Danger.
Yeah,
Clear and Present Danger.
I know Adam is editing furiously.
Yes.
Mosquito Coast. We'll get
that.
Mosquito
Coast should be done tonight, which would be awesome, amazing. I'll feel so good at that. Yeah.
So yes, this week sometime that will post. I think that's it. Go watch Countdown to 5. I have another clip from that. I'll play that next week. The recap of Temple of Doom.
Oh yeah, I see it right here, but it's a couple minutes.
6 minutes. We'll let it go.
Yeah.
So go check that out. Our last show was posted all about Dial of Destiny, which, by the way, you can rent now.
Oh, that's right. It's available VOD. Paul, we need to do it's time to do Dial of Destiny Part 4 of our 5 of our reviews. We're just going to keep reviewing that movie because it's going to be on DVD soon, so I can actually pull clips and then we'll really get into depth on this thing. Jonathan, we started a show called the Ford Fiesta because we both love Harrison Ford and we met through a mutual love of Harrison Ford. When we started this, we were like, the joke was, we'll cover every movie from Dead Heat on a Merry-Go-Round to what's the dog?
Call of the Wild.
Because it seemed like Harrison Ford was like soft retiring. Like, I don't know, I'm going to do a movie with the dog. I don't know, whatever. And then as soon as we start the show, we're like, he's in 2 TV shows. It's a new Indiana Jones movie. It's like, oh my God, it's amazing.
He's joining the MCU.
He's joining the MCU?
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, yeah.
Special.
All right. So that is all. Again, 8 Found Dead.
Well, congratulations, Jonathan.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having us on.
Huge congratulations.
Really
You're one of us. You made a movie. That seems impossible. Paul?
I haven't made a movie.
Isn't making movies impossible?
That's why I haven't made one.
I can't wait for you to make your movie. I want to hear about this.
Yeah.
No doubt soon. We were inspired. So, Jonathan, hang on.
It is very inspiring. Legitimately.
Say hi after this, but in the meantime, we're signing off for now, and we'll see you next week.
All right. See you later. Thanks.
1, 2, 3.
Foul odors in your holding tank is a problem that most boat lovers experience. Many products claim to eliminate the problem, but we all know how ineffective those are. Not so with Unique Marketing's Marine Digested. Our safe organic formula is the most advanced odor and clog eliminator on the market today. Foul odors can now be a thing of the past. Simply pour Marine Digested down your header sink and you'll never hassle with disgusting messes again. Marine Digested is 100% safe and made from all natural ingredients, so it won't harm humans or animals. Not only is it extremely effective, but surprisingly inexpensive. Only 2 ounces in a 40-gallon holding tank each time you dump will keep your boat lavatory smelling fresh and odor-free. Marine Digested guarantees to keep everything liquid in your holding tank, so pump-outs are a breeze. Marine Digested is the only product available that guarantees to clean out a totally clogged holding tank overnight, with no scrubbing or hassle. Many products claim to clean your holding tank sensors, but are ineffective. Marine Digested completely cleans your sensors so you have an accurate reading of your tank levels. Guaranteed. Marine Digested is the answer you've been looking for to finally eliminate those embarrassing odors. Marine Digested. It's inexpensive, only 2 ounces per 40-gallon tank. Guaranteed to clean sensors. Completely unclogs holding tanks overnight. Safe in your gray tank. 100% safe for humans and animals. And it's made from all natural ingredients. No more hassle from odors and clogs. Go ahead, have some fun.